Here, it is a Monday, September the 8th, 2025. Wow, flying by, going into week 3. Well, we're going to review week 2 with a great panel. Rob Brown in Memphis, Brendan Martin in Ocala, Florida. We've got Coach Pete Cordelli in Nashville. David Bartoo, college football matrix out in the mountains of Oregon. He'll be on with us. Coach Ellis Johnson over in South Carolina near Clemson. We'll be covering in the next 60 minutes a lot of ground. So this is the smart thing to do. Take your cell phone, take a picture of the QR code. We are live on Twitter, X, Facebook, and YouTube. Okay, we do this every day, and this channel has a lot of shows. Brendan is putting up reels, constantly bringing up stuff like the Buddy Martin Show, Lowdown with Lauren Meadows, Scarbo Knows, the Die Hard Podcast, Best Fridays in Football. You get the message. This is your best place to go for unabashed truth on the SEC and college football. So let's get started right now with this esteemed panel. And guys, I always remind myself of the overreaction of some people. I turned my ringer off. My ringer just stays off on my phone. I'm blessed to have a lot of friends, a lot of texts, but some of these people absolutely go on another level of insanity. And I've been there too. But now I don't even respond during the games because we know this. As Coach Dye said, football is a 60-minute game. And if it comes down to the man in the stripes with 3 seconds left making the call, we didn't do the job. So don't get overreact, but I'll throw it out there for our neutral observer in the middle of these two coaches, Dave Bartoo. Where do you start with the weekend in the SEC? It was a pretty good weekend overall, but I got Florida winning 10 games, but I saw some stuff Saturday out of Florida that is symptomatic of 22 and 23 and 24, I thought was gone. Your thoughts?
Well, I mean, if you were hoping for 10 wins out of that schedule, then I need to buy what you are taking. Because that is the physicality of the schedule alone is brutal. It's the same thing I'd have expected 10 wins out of South Carolina. Just not really, just a tough road, for anybody. But, for me, with any of these programs early on, and understand, folks, I'm not an X's and O's guys. That's what Pete is here for. That's what Ellis is here for. I don't watch these games with an X's and O's eye. That's not my job. My job is to look at the numbers. And so what I'm looking for early on, in particular. And this is the most important number for me in college football. It is the most important number for the playoff committee. It is the most important number for the eventual national champion. It is scoring efficiency, or to simply put it, margin of victory. Margin of victory is the single most important number. It is the most important number for the committee. And I promise y'all, teams with the highest margin of victory, they always win the national title. Top 3. Every single year for the last 25 years, won the national title. Not top 5, anything like that. Top 3. So when we're talking about like a Florida or an LSU, I'm not buying either one of them. I know Florida got upset, but I'm still not buying them. Even if Florida won 18-16, that's still not a top team. LSU, I saw Clemson losing 16-0 to Troy, and I immediately tweeted out, why don't we bet on the worst graded active head coach plus 35.5 against LSU right now? Because LSU probably isn't very good either. What happened? Easily covered. So, no, I'm not buying Florida. And there's a lot of teams in the SEC people may have been buying early on, but they haven't got it together yet. And like you said, opening up, Rob, we're already in week 3. This thing goes by real damn fast. So now, Florida, LSU, those are probably the 2 teams I am not sold on. And guess what? They play next week. We're going to take the under and the points.
All right. I'll throw some red meat out. It's like 2:30 p.m. Central at the Memphis Zoo. That's when they feed the lions. Pete, wow! That's good stuff.
Dave, I couldn't concur more. when I was at Notre Dame for those 5 years, Lou Holtz understood margin of victory.
Yep.
And it got to the point in 1989, about the middle of the year, he comes into a staff meeting with a mailbag. Now I'm talking about a canvas mailbag, and he he starts into one of his rants. Y'all don't know how hard it is to be the head coach here at Notre Dame. And he takes the bag and dumps it upside down. And I mean, this mail goes all over the staff room table. He goes, that's how many people are on my ass about not winning big enough. And we're undefeated. And it's like, oh my God. Then the next day he comes in and he goes, USA Today, what the hell do they know about the point spread? My God, I'm going to get more mail. I mean, hey, Lane Kiffin even made a comment about the point spread, about Kentucky going down and kicking that field goal. I think Ole Miss was 9, maybe, I don't know. And then so they kicked the field goal, make it 30-23, and Lane's addressing it, and it's like, come on, dude. But you know what? With the advent of all these guys gambling, this is a point of contention right now, and the players getting paid. But look, the management, the mismanagement of the clock, Florida's last series was absolutely horrendous. They throw 2 incomplete passes where when you got a 6'6", 240-pound beast back there, I can't believe that's not the time to run quarterback power and get the ball on the perimeter, stay in bounds, and then ridiculous penalties. I mean, this spitting has to stop. I don't care what level you're on. It's got to stop because it keeps the drive alive. And then automatica, grammatica, all right, like his daddy, right down the middle. And you know what? Alex Golich is one heck of a football coach. I got to know him when he was at Tennessee, and he'd come to Lipscomb Academy here in Nashville, and he recruited some really good players, and I think the guy does a heck of a job. But he's got a quarterback that knows how to win. And when the game's on the line, he reminds me of the Pavia kid at Vanderbilt. Give me the ball.
Yeah.
Give me the ball. I just want him.
Yeah.
But look, you're going to have close games, but the clock management in the last 2.5 minutes of Florida, that left a lot to be desired. And was I seeing things, were my eyes deceiving me, or did every Florida player look like they were playing in shorts? That they cut their pants between the knee pad and the thigh pad?
Well, I was at the game.
And Nick Saban, Brendan, I'm sorry, but Nick Saban always used to get on guys' asses about tuck your shirt in. It's little things. It's discipline. That Florida sideline, I'm sorry, man. Bad vibes.
Yeah. I was at the game on the sidelines shooting for caterbaitmedia.com. And I go to almost all the home games and some away games. But I've been saying this for I don't know, since Utah first game 2 years ago. The sidelines for Florida has just never really seemed organized. It's always been an issue. It's always been a problem, whether getting the right squad on the field, or are we kicking field goals at the end of the game, or what are we doing? At the end of the game, it's chaos. Communication seems to be an issue. And I will say this and keep saying this over and over and over. I feel like Florida's got all the personnel they need to go win football games. There needs to be a play caller, and there needs to be somebody running that offense. And I just don't feel Billy's going to ever understand that concept, because when you get down in the heat of the moment, like he does every time, we're watching a pattern of behavior here where it's chaos. We don't make the right call. We don't have the right guys in the field. We don't do this. It costs you the game. There's just no way you should lose that game at home in the swamp. And I really, really feel like this is just bad, coaching from the top down, because those guys played uninspired football on Saturday. The Gators did not look like they wanted to really be out there. It was just very odd.
Yeah, it's strange. I mean, I got a text from Jerry Kirby, who we've had on the show a few times, at 11:49 a.m. Central Friday, and he watches more football than any human being alive, in his pajamas, in his suit, whatever. And he said, my lock of the year, South Florida straight up over Florida. And I said, well, I'm taking South Florida to cover. He said, they're going to beat them. And I said, well, I hope not, for the sake of the SEC and all like that. But Ellis Johnson, weigh in on this thing. We're going to start this rapid fire because we got a lot to cover. I'm going to kind of throw names out there and we're going to kind of attack them. But what do you see, Coach?
And about the pants, it's everywhere.
Yep.
I mean, the officials are tired of trying to police it, and they just finally told people, we're not in that business. We're not checking uniforms and all that. And then y'all make up your rules and do what you're going to do. And if you look around the country, there are very few players on the game field now that have knee pads. Now, I don't know if the pants are cut off, but if you're not going to put pads in the thing, you might as well cut them off. And I don't understand that, but I guess maybe trainers have given up or probably agree. It doesn't prevent injury. So I don't know about that part. Now, the one thing I saw was the kid that spit on another kid. And so, if a guy's out there trying as hard as he can, he plays poorly, you got to coach him better, or you didn't recruit the right guy. When that stuff happens, like that, I don't know how the hell to explain it. And even not to jump off the train, but the kid at Philadelphia used to play at Georgia. He don't even get to play. He doesn't get to play a snap in a game. He's a damn pro. I mean, he's getting paid by the hour, and he doesn't play a minute. It's just crazy as hell. And Dave, I'm sort of getting to where I'm more by the numbers too. The coach in me is starting to slowly disappear because the more you're out of this business, I don't know if Pete will agree, but the longer I'm out of it, the more clearly I see things.
Yes, sir.
Coach, I was chasing ghosts every play, man. I mean, we had what if for every call, and you're worried about this, you're worried about it. Now you watch it as a bystander, and you know some football, but you're also not involved in it. And a lot of stuff is very, very statistical, and especially over time. It takes a little bit of time, but over time, man, the numbers start coming up. Coaches are like attorneys. They think they're going to win every time they go in the room. So, they don't ever think they're going to lose. But
yeah, Dave, along the line of what these two coaches said, and they both wear national championship rings, and you broke down your opening salvo.
Yeah.
Was brilliant. Okay, LSU at home against Louisiana Tech. You think, okay, they're going to really explode. If it's there, if a dog will bite, he'll do it when he's a pup. Yeah. The offense only scored 23 points. What does that tell you?
Well, it tells me it's all ball bearings. That's what it tells me.
You go, Clark.
But again, people ask me a lot. That's and you guys probably get this all too. First couple of weeks, what are you looking for? And I am looking for a dominant offense and or defense. Well, Dave, it's against a crappy school. Exactly. Dominate the way you're supposed to, right? Because in this day and age of the playoffs and national championship, that's what we're focused on, right? That's what fans are focused on, getting the playoffs. It's all about being one of those top 12 teams. It's all about winning a national title. The bowls, everything else kind of been set to the side. People complain about preseason polls. Why? Because they are so stupid in thinking that somehow there's a conspiracy that the stupid AP poll influences the committee. Look, folks, every single ranking poll is for entertainment purposes only. Why? I'm talking about it. Everybody's talking about it, right? I mean, yes. So what I'm looking at is that ability to dominate every time out there on the field and not let down. Okay, Florida. Look, we all know Florida out-talented that team. No problem. They're at home, right? They have a good coaching staff, and then South Florida just hasn't been good for the last couple of years. To me, that was a mental letdown, right? I mean, it's a perfect trap because you got Florida LSU next week. We can all guarantee Florida was already looking forward to that LSU matchup in Baton Rouge. Okay, so they got trapped by a decent team, but to me, the mental makeup isn't there. right? And so to go out and grind out the points and just absolutely destroy teams in September. That's why I love seeing what Oregon is doing. I love seeing what Tennessee is doing. I love seeing what Georgia is doing, and those are the things over the next couple of weeks that I am going to keep my eye on going forward. But LSU didn't get that done, right? I mean, kudos. They got by Clemson. And are any of us buying Clemson right now? I'm not. No way. I'll take Florida State and Miami over those guys right now. And I know we got 10 more weeks, but still, that's where I'm at up here. And LSU, look, I think they played a good Clemson team tough. They got the W. They got the W this weekend, but they haven't figured out how to be an elite team yet, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, interesting thing. I always will say after that first game, with Clemson and LSU, two great teams, or was that just two bad offenses? There was one got a great defense. There's a lot that you got to think about. Dave, you just made us do that. The assault and battery charges have been filed by Oklahoma State after the Oregon loss. That, Dave, I was watching. That was what has happened, Pete Cordelli, to the mullet man. Do you know the mullet man who lives on Drury Lane? Remember that little children's? What happened to them? Or is Oregon that damn good? Dave should know, he is a duck.
I'm 40 and I'm a man. Blame me. Don't go after the kid. Well, you're now 54 and you're getting your ass kicked. All right.
God.
Coach Nick Bartoo, I like the way you're thinking, Nick. But Ellis will tell you, the only team you control is your own. And it's all about us. And right now, Dan Lanning, he took that comment last week by Mr. Sarcasm, the head coach in Oklahoma State. He likes to stir the pot. I said to somebody on Sunday, I can't remember who I was talking to, I think the dude's trying to get himself fired and collect his money and go rattlesnake hunting like he likes to do. And look, you cannot take away what he's done. He's had a great run there. But right now, when Boone Pickens passed away and the money kind of dried up, you cannot blame Phil Knight and his resources. You cannot blame Larry Ellison and his wife and the Oracle resources and Portnoy and their resources. Like Barry Switzer said, NIL, now it's legal.
Yeah.
Barry Switzer was doing it for a long time when it was illegal because of the oil money. Texas was doing it for years with the oil money. Every building on campus at the University of Texas is paid for before it's built. Okay?
Yeah.
There are certain schools in the pecking order where you stand. What Oregon has done, and Dan Lanning, I give him all the credit in the world. He learned from Kirby. Kirby learned from Nick. He's going out and recruiting like a madman. I mean, and now you add fuel to the fire. Oklahoma State's playing a backup quarterback. And guess what? Those kids don't care. It's all about Oregon. And the numbers do matter. Margin of victory has always been important. And I'm going to go back to a conversation we had a couple weeks ago. This is why the NFL owners moved the hash marks in so close. They wanted more scoring. They wanted more points. So they moved the hash marks in. Well, guess what? They didn't realize that defenses now don't have to defend a wide side of the field. And so the defenses have kind of caught up. Look, you can't coach speed. You recruit it. You develop it.
Yeah.
Oregon, since Dan's been there. And the other thing he's done, he's gotten some pretty good offensive linemen. He has a quarterback who can play, and they have some skilled guys.
Yes.
But they're playing good defense. And I think they're going to go to Northwestern this week and put another 60 burger on these Wildcats. And Dan Lanning gets it. Mario
Yeah.
started it. Cristobal started trying to bring an SEC mentality to the West Coast with some toughness. Lanning has just tripled it, quadrupled it. And guess what? Every school in the country now is nationally recruiting. Back when I first got into this business, we were regional. We're at Arkansas, we're recruiting Dallas, Houston, East Texas, St. Louis, Missouri, and the state of Arkansas, maybe a little bit of West Tennessee and North Mississippi, North Louisiana. But you took a 200-mile radius and you recruited there. Tennessee, they're going into Ohio and Virginia Beach, and North Carolina owned Virginia Beach, but it was all within driving distance.
Yeah.
Everybody today now is recruiting nationally. You have
Pete,
to
I want to
have
throw
money
something.
to do that.
Yeah, you do. And Coach Johnson, hearing that, you look at Clemson, you look at Alabama. I remember 12 years ago before the Iron Bowl, Auburn and Alabama going into that famous kick six game had players, each of them from 15 to 20 different states back then. When you talk about closing the gap, I mean, nobody is going to compete with Larry Ellison and Oracle. If you checked his net worth, a little over $200 billion. That's ridiculous. So, Coach Johnson, can you? The kid that spit, by the way, the Florida player, he's off scholarship. If I'm the coach, do you think? I mean, you cannot allow that. That's like someone who smokes around the gas refinery. You just can't allow it.
Yeah,
What would you have
well,
done
I don't
to
know
him?
all the background on him and all that kind of stuff. Whether I'd kick him off completely, whatever. But I don't know. I don't have a comment about it. It's just ridiculous. And hell, when a professional does it, it's even more ridiculous. But and Ed Prescott got away with it. He did it too. So anyhow, but I was surprised. I mean, if you asked me whether I wanted an oil well or a shoe store, I'd take the oil well. But I mean, apparently they're selling more shoes than drilling for oil or something. But it's pitiful. It's really pitiful that it's come down. It's literally come down to the almighty dollar, and we're headed on in that direction. And may make a lot of people happy. But when I was a kid, there was about 10 or 15 teams that always were on TV and were always in the Rose Bowl and the other big things. There weren't any playoffs back then. And I think parity made college football better. And they've now just about screwed it up. And it's getting worse and worse and worse. And then some of this behavior on the field and some of this stuff with cars off the field is coming because these kids don't have a damn clue what they're doing. Half of them don't even have frontal lobes developed, and they're putting millions of dollars in their pockets, and they're making terrible decisions because they think they don't have to worry about it. And in about 10 or 15 years, there will be so many sad stories about these kids that are going through this period right now. And you can say that's Pollyanna, but I'm telling you, it's coming.
That's true.
And it's just a sad situation. But y'all right too. Now, point differential. That's why I don't like humans picking the playoff teams. I want a formula. I want Dave Bartoo to come up with a formula to get the best 12 teams, and I guarantee you he'd be more accurate. And at the end, there'd be less controversy with people sitting in that room who are connected to brand schools. And that's my feeling about it. I mean, everybody's got human nature, referees, and championship playoff pickers. They're human too. And when it comes down to it, I just think you're better off with something on paper that everybody has to go by.
Commissioner Bartoo.
Yeah, Commissioner Bartoo. That's it. That's it. The great elk hunter, the wise one from the Pacific Northwest. This is so much wisdom coming out of this panel and Brendan's comments on the Gators, because he and his dad Buddy know that program, and Lauren Meadows, who's watching right now. Thank you, Lauren. They really know that program. Let's look for some. The sun did come up this morning. It's actually coming up over the rice fields in the Arkansas Delta. Soon that will be populated by thousands of ducks who migrate south for me to have the opportunity to cook them on the grill. But I digress.
Yeah.
Dave, I'm gonna throw some names out there. So stop me at the first one, and then I'm gonna do this same thing with Coach Johnson and Coach Cordelli. Alabama, Arkansas, Auburn. Those three. Anything jump out at you from their games over the weekend? That good, bad, or ugly?
Well, I mean, again, Alabama bounced back, right? I mean, don't feel sorry for Louisiana Monroe there. Auburn, we talk about margin of victory. They took care of business at home. But still, they had a tough time with Baylor early on. And Arkansas, we're looking at the parity that Coach Ellis talked about. You got Bobby Petrino, you got a veteran quarterback. Arkansas might be, even though they're a bottom level recruiter in the SEC, that parity starts squeezing in. There's a few teams like Ole Miss that lost a lot of players. Arkansas might be a real tough out if this offense can keep it up.
Yeah. Coach Johnson, I'll throw it at you. We just mentioned Alabama, Arkansas, Auburn. We've talked about Florida, Georgia, Kentucky, LSU. Anything really jump out at you from the games they played over the weekend?
Well, when they play lesser opponents, I usually just kind of look to see how well the quarterback played, if he got better.
Okay.
I agree with Dave. What you're looking for, even as a coach, when you play an opponent who's a lesser opponent than you, you're coming off of a big game or you got a big game in front of you, how you play against that overrated team in the middle, that tells you a lot about the focus and the maturity of your football team. Can they get ready to play their best every game, regardless of who the opponent is? And I think I still go back a lot of this. I think the portal. You can't develop culture like you could 10 years ago. And so I think there are a lot of teams, and the coaches still believe in approaching things the same way they always did, but they can't get their hands around these kids. You can't just, you got to have them believe in what you're saying. And when a kid's only been in your locker room for 3 months, you don't know. I mean, he may not believe in what and you may love those Arkansas rice fields down there when those thousands of ducks start flying.
Yes.
Well, I was down there recruiting with Tim Horton one day, and there may be thousands of ducks, but there's millions and millions of bugs and mosquitoes too. You can have that place.
Yeah, I sleep in a hoodie every night, by the way.
Hell, those high
They
school
will
coaches,
get you.
the high school coaches down on the sideline early games in the year, and they look like they're getting ready to rob a beehive. They got on all kind of stuff. I said, it looks like the middle of winter, Tim. He said, hey, wear that stuff. The mosquitoes eat them up.
I love you.
Charleston, South Carolina ain't much better.
That's right. Well, hey, all right. So we just covered Georgia, Kentucky, and LSU. All right, Pete, what did you see out of Ole Miss? Mississippi State, there's movement of the aisles in Scott Field in Starkville, Mississippi. Jack Crystal saying hello to my good friend Pete Cordelli. Look, we got Ole Miss, Mississippi State, and Missouri. I saw some good things out of that. Blake Chapin. Wonder if he's related to that Harry Chapin, the great musician. Dave, anyone know? Bueller? Anyone? But that was, man, the cowbells were ringing at Davis Wade Stadium, Scott Field in Starkville, Mississippi. I'm happy for him, man. Stan Jones, Alan Calicut. I got some great Mississippi State friends. That was impressive. Were you as impressed as I was?
Yes. Jeff Levy makes a great call there on the touchdown to win it. He runs two crossers mesh route, knowing he's going to get man. And then on the outside, they run a switch route, and it's a switch and go. And so the inside receiver comes out, goes up and sits down on the sideline, which draws the corner. The inside guy comes up, goes in, looks like he's going to curl, and then takes off. And what a great call. There's no middle of the field safety. They're not playing single high or anything like that. And the quarterback put that right on him. And that kid's one of the fastest kids in the conference. Yeah. Great win for Jeff Levy. And the other thing is, he's hired Paul Rhodes and Mike McIntyre to be on that defensive staff.
Whoa.
And
that's a good one, I think.
To get those guys to come in there and bring their knowledge and experience. But that's a huge win, especially Mississippi State had the lead in the first half. Then Arizona State with Levitt starts to get back in it. but what a great call to win that game, especially at home. And you're right, those cowbells are still ringing in those guys' ears back in Tempe, Arizona. Um, Ole Miss,
Yeah.
for whatever reason, man, Kentucky plays them to the end.
Yeah.
And Dave made a great point about Arkansas earlier. Taylor Green now, I mean, he's special.
Yeah.
He's special. I mean, when he takes off and runs, and Arkansas goes to Oxford to play Ole Miss this weekend. That will be a huge one. Remember, Kentucky came into Oxford last year and upset Ole Miss. Sam Pittman's coaching for his job. When you're coaching with your back against the wall, and guess what? The players know it. The players know what's going on. And in Missouri, I was there to watch him play UCA. Drink has done one hell of a job recruiting and building that roster. Prabilla, he can get it done. I know they were down 15, but my goodness, he brought them back. How about Ahmad Hardy? I mean, my God. And then
The other one,
the kid,
Robert.
Missouri has a chance. They play Louisiana this week, but their first 6 games are at home. Missouri plays the first 6 games at home. You talk about a team that can win 10. I think Missouri's going to be there as long as they stay healthy.
Yeah.
No team plays the same way 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
And it's like Coach Johnson said, it's about getting them mentally ready. I know this. When we were at Notre Dame, Coach Holtz brought in a sports psychologist, Bob Rotella. And Rotella said, look, divide your schedule up. There's 3 games on that schedule those players know they have it circled. And it was Michigan, Miami, Southern Cal for us. And there was a 4th, Penn State.
God.
He said, then you got 4, middle of the road, you should be better than. And then there's 3 or 4, you're getting better competition Tuesday through Friday at practice than those teams. And those are the times you got to turn it up and get their attention. You can't look ahead. You can't take anything for granted because we're still involved with human beings playing this game. And human nature takes over, like we saw the kid with Florida, like Jalen Carter. How about this? The NFL isn't even going to suspend Carter for the spitting deal. So, you know what? Forget it. You got to handle business in your house, but I like Missouri a lot. Ole Miss, be careful this week. And Mississippi State, congratulations. I think they're making progress.
Yeah. I saw that Ole Miss minus 8.5, and I told my son, I said, that's a sucker bet, man. He said, what do you know? I said, Kentucky's going to play them close. I said, Vegas, there are a lot of tall buildings, as they say in Vegas, as Mark Schlabach said, because there's a lot of dumbasses out there that lose. Okay, that's just how it goes. But another one, I thought Drinkwitz was hilarious, guys. He was on SEC Nation with Paul Feinbaum, and he said, the wind was blowing and his hair was blowing. He goes, man, my comb over is out of whack. He goes, I'm 2 or 3 haircuts away from looking like you, Paul. Drinkwitz, Dave Bartoo, your thoughts. I'm going to ask you about Drinkwitz real quick, then go cover Oklahoma, South Carolina, and Tennessee, what you could extrapolate from their 3 games. But I just like Drinkwitz, the man from Alma, Arkansas.
Well, he's had a good run. He's had a good run. He was really solid at Appalachian State on paper with our grading system. We thought that was a very good hire coming out. It was interesting. He has dealt with a lot of people talk about the recruiting, but he's dealt with a lot of turnover on the coaching side of the ledger. Recruiting wise, he got the money. He's taken Missouri from a mid-30s, top 30s high school recruiter into the top 25. So this is a much, much more talented team today than when he showed up. But he's endured a lot of turnover. Keep in mind, this is a guy that hired Ryan Walters, that Brett Bielema stole. Bielema had a top 10 defense for a couple of years before Purdue hired Walters, who's now back at Washington. And then LSU took Blake Baker away from him as well. And I think he upgraded at the defensive coordinator position. So not only has he proven to be able to go out and recruit and sign and spend money well at Missouri, on the player side, he has done it really well on the coaching side. Then you add to it a window of opportunity of a very easy schedule. Look, let's call it what it is, right?
Mhm.
I mean, you give Missouri's Florida schedule, they're probably 6-6. And schedule has a lot to do with success because we don't look at the schedule, we look at the record. So everything has really come together well for him, but he has done a hell of a job on the recruiting and the coaching side of putting the program together.
Yeah. Anything jump out about John Mateer, man, who looks like a lead singer in Led Zeppelin, man? Oklahoma, South Carolina, Tennessee, a lot of points. John Mateer is legit, I think.
Well, you know something? We'll see, right? Again, not an X's and O's, guys. He got the win. To me, it's not about stats. I don't care about that. Can you elevate your team as a quarterback? That's it. So 4,000 yards a season, 3,000, 2,000, it doesn't matter to me. He is winning football games, which, by the way, Brett Venables really needs. Okay. So, but I think that was a turning point game. I think that game was more about the decline of Michigan this year and their inability to score. And I think they're going to have a tough season going ahead. I think with Oklahoma, book's still out because I don't trust the last 3 years of Oklahoma. So I have a hard time buying into it right now.
Yeah.
Tennessee, Josh Heupel is working his magic. The quarterback he brought from App State, Joey Aguilar, did not elevate App State, and Josh is making him look like $1 million. So I love where Tennessee is going. In South Carolina, to me, they're kind of like Florida. Wicked schedule. Just keep winning. As long as they keep winning, I'm happy. I don't expect them to be elite or anything like that with that schedule. So just keep kicking that can forward and staying healthy if you're the Gamecocks.
Who can cause victory? Who can cause victory? That's the mark of a quarterback. The Pavia kid at Vanderbilt is causing victory for 2 years now.
Yeah.
And you know what? Mateer, I was really impressed with the way he ran the football. Some of his throwing, he gets into that sidearm and he starts to go off platform and he dropped his elbow and got some balls batted. He's got to get more consistent there. Accurate. He puts a lot of zip on the ball, but he can cause victory. And for a quarterback in this league, it's going to be tougher. We'll see. Saturday, Georgia at Tennessee. Aguilar against Gunnar Stockton. Now, I want to say this about Joey Aguilar. He had a pretty good junior year at App. Senior year, he wasn't surrounded by a guy that could break an egg. All right? I mean, those cats, it was sad. It was sad.
Yeah.
And it cost Sean his job there. Those guys weren't very good. And that's why Joey needed to get out of there.
Yeah.
Now, it's not the quarterback's job to win every game, but it is his job not to lose the game.
Yeah. Yeah. Whoa. God,
See, that dog, they agree.
That's right. They get a little excited. Coach Johnson, all right, this is just great stuff. Folks, we got Coach Pete Cordelli, Coach Ellis Johnson, Dave Bartoo, College Football Matrix, the Lights Out Gummies. Folks, they work. I got a great night's sleep last night. That, along with some good coffee and a Hewlett and Dunn cup, is why I am as jacked up as JoJo the Circus Boy this morning. Coach Johnson, the games, Texas A&M, and Vanderbilt. This ain't your grandfather's Oldsmobile. This ain't anybody's Vanderbilt. But start, Texas A&M, and Vandy, because I mean, everywhere you look, there's an interesting storyline at least.
Yeah, I thought Texas A&M got better. I mean, I think they, it wasn't an opponent that they shouldn't have beat, but anyhow, they look like they're getting a little bit better and playing up to the level of money they got in that damn school. They're going to get tested this week. They're going to Notre Dame.
Yeah.
And they'll have to beat Notre Dame. It won't be some kind of advantage automatic. I think Oklahoma, that game had all of Brent Venables' fingerprints on it. And I think he's got his program right now. They're playing really good defense. They're getting off the field. They're giving the other side a lot of snaps. Yeah. And Mateer, as long as he takes care of the football, he did have a pick. I think that I think he's got it turned around. Like y'all said, it's very early, but that looks like the type of football team that I thought Brent would have. It's amazing to me. Stoopsy he's got the MO to control or beat Kiffin. And how does he do it? They get third down stops and they get off the field.
Yep.
And then they also take a lot of time when they've got the football, both in the style of what they play, or what plays they run, and they also, they don't get into pace. And what that does is cut the number of snaps that Lane has. And you got to do that with him, because sooner or later he's going to get you. So although they didn't beat him, they beat him last year with a lesser football team, and they had a chance this week. I think it exposed Ole Miss just a little bit. And, going down, I'm not as confident in them as I was. Arkansas may beat them this week. But several other comments all around the conference. I hate to bring this up, but apparently y'all never saw it. I hadn't seen anything in the press, but there was this little clip of Arch Manning throwing the ball in the game the other day, and he was grimacing real bad every time he threw. And the comment will say, are they hiding something about his shoulder? I can't find anything about it, so I'm not sure in some AI thing or some prank that somebody put out there. But I hope that's not something. And I agree with y'all on Eli. They ran 37 more snaps than Kansas. Kansas is a well-coached team, and they got some pretty damn good players. They're putting money in there now. And I mean, they control this ball game. I mean, it was almost a more dominant game than the score indicated.
Yeah. I mean, watching that atmosphere for the border war. I mean, Kansas and Missouri, that's what I love about college football. Yeah, I'm in Memphis, SEC's United Nations. I love college football all over the country, and it's for games like that. And those Missouri people were as excited as the crowds at any other big game. And this was a non-conference, but an old rivalry between two Big 8 schools, Big 12, whatever. Dave.
Hey, Rob, before you go on about Missouri, when I was there for the Central Arkansas game, at the end of the third quarter, the Missouri student section, they started this song, and it was FUKU. And I mean, it went on and on.
Yeah.
It did not stop. So I'm standing on the sideline. This security guard goes, you know what? This will go on for 15 minutes. He said, I'm getting really tired of this. I said, well, just imagine what's going to happen next week when they beat them. And he goes, we better. That's all I know. And I'm going like, that's the security guard on the sideline. Now, in the north end zone, they're going through construction. They're going to have new suites above it and all stands. That thing's going to be at about 80,000. Wow. Can you imagine? Here's more Walton money going into the Missouri program. It's not just the Walton money going to Arkansas.
Yeah.
All right. So Missouri with Walton money, and Drake knows where he's getting it from. I do the Arkansas State home games, and Blake Anderson at one time was he interviewed for the job. They thought he was going to get it. Yeah. But John Sunvold, the chairman of the board, stepped in and said, nope, we're not hiring that guy. I want Eli Drinkowitz. So Sunvold made that call on getting Drink hired.
Yeah.
But I'm going to tell you, that program, they got money and great facilities.
Yeah. Well, former Memphis basketball player Bill Laurie is married to one of the Waltons. And when they broke ground for Dave, you ought to see this facility, the Memphis basketball practice facility on the South Campus.
Yeah.
My friend Joel Johnson, Burr Cole Engineering, shameless plug, built it. And they were there for the groundbreaking, and nobody could come. I said, why? He goes, Brown, the security was so tight. They had like snipers. 4 of the 10 wealthiest people in America were there, Waltons, for the shovel, in the ground pictures and stuff. So that Walmart money is at a lot of places. It's at Memphis, it's at Missouri, it's in Arkansas. And I've never seen a basketball practice facility in my life like what they have at Memphis, built by Burr Cole Engineering, shameless plug. But anyway, Dave Bartoo, I want to talk about Vanderbilt. I go back to something, a gentleman scholar is what they call the guys that go to MBA, Montgomery Bell Academy up in Belmead, Nashville. I was on the elevator with Clark Lee and his wife, and I didn't want to bother him. They were talking. He was nervous before he addressed the media at media days. But that guy's measured in everything he says. It's an old Southern trick. You trail off at the end of your sentence and people are just hanging on to hear every word you say. He addressed the crowd and he said, I know how excited you are to hear about Vanderbilt football, but I'm going to tell you something. It was a prophetic statement. He said, every 132 kids in this football building has signed up for what this staff believes in, not what anybody else did or didn't do, whatever, but it's what we believe in. They are all in on this. That stuff matters, Dave. Look at the numbers, and they go up, and I don't care what Virginia Tech is. Lane Stadium's not an easy place to win at. As Chuck Oliver says, that ain't nothing.
Yeah, but you know something, again, let's go back to context. Okay. Yeah. This is not the Vanderbilt of 10 years ago. 10 years ago, Vanderbilt, their high school recruiting was in the 50s and the 60s and the 70s. Okay. They've gotten a lot of SEC money. They've invested in the football program. Stanford has not. I think Vanderbilt is getting a lot of the really good, smart athletes Stanford used to get. Because Stanford, to me, has really just given up on football. They don't want to spend the money. Vanderbilt is spending the money, and their recruiting has gone from the mid-50s to the mid-30s. Now, in the SEC, the mid-30s is still bottom three. Okay, they're still going to get boat raced in the SEC night in and night out. But Virginia Tech, who used to be a top 25 recruiter until Fuentes sunk the ship, now they are a mid-40s recruiter. So if you look at that Virginia Tech Vanderbilt game, a lot of people go, oh, this should be easy win for Virginia Tech. If you're thinking 10 years ago, right? That's what we remember. But that's not the way it is. Plus, they have Pavia. That guy carries the bags. That guy elevates a team. He not only elevates Vanderbilt, he elevated New Mexico before him. And so I think Vanderbilt is a really excellent combination of better recruiting, better facilities. The coaching staff is okay, middle of the road. They have the benefit of a quarterback that is going to personally win games for them. And last year and this year, the numbers said expect Vanderbilt to win that game simply on the talent. But good things come to an end. Pavia is going to leave. And I don't know when that's going to be, but when he does, I think there's going to be a couple of game drop off because I think he's good for 2 or 3 games all by himself.
That is Pavia. You're right. He's an elevator. I like you've given me a new term. There's just certain players.
Quarterback effect.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the guys that go in the locker room, and y'all as coaches know this, you know who your starting quarterback is. And Dave, I like that. So what? You throw for 4,500 yards if you were 8-4. It's a weird stat in Auburn's history since 1892, February 20th, 1892 at Piedmont Park in Atlanta, Georgia, a 10-0 win over Georgia, a crowd of 5,000 there. Georgia's mascot was a goat, had a red and black cape on him. After the game, the Georgia fans were so upset about the loss, they literally barbecued the goat. As Vince Dooley said, it was the first tailgate in the Southeastern Conference. But I'm going to throw some interesting numbers. In Auburn's history, going back to that game in 1892, they've had 10 games where they've given up 400 or more yards passing. You know what their record is in those games? 10-0. They've never lost. Coach Johnson, Coach Cordelli, somebody throw this out there. If you were not going to win a game if you give up 400 yards rushing, but you can give up 400 yards passing, what is that telling you? Both of y'all, just kind of Pete.
Well, it's a turnover probabilities and so forth. I mean, throwing the ball you got to be able to throw the ball today. Don't get me wrong. But if you can't run the football effectively at critical times in the game, you're going to get beat. And if all you have is a throwing game, then it's easier on defense to try to get takeaways and big plays off of you. And, I think as long as Vandy keeps recruiting New Mexico, they can replenish. And the Waltons, I guess their next school they're going to support is going to be in Beijing because that's where all their products are.
That's right. Well, if they get football, Coach Cordelli, you and Coach Johnson and I and Dave, we could go over there and run the program. And by the way,
no, thank you.
Me either. Barton Simmons, by the way, recruiting guy, he's been at Vanderbilt since Clark Lee got there. He was a teammate of his at MBA, the Gentleman Scholars in Belmead, and also an all Ivy League safety at Yale, Pete Cordelli. And you played briefly at Cornell before you transferred to NC State. But kind of along the line of what Coach Johnson just said, I've already forgotten the question I asked him, but do you remember?
I think that right now, Barton has done such a good job before he got to Vanderbilt with his recruiting service. He made inroads with a lot of the high school coaches around the Southeast. But Vanderbilt has always had a national reputation. Stanford, Duke, Notre Dame, Northwestern. There was a time when some people were calling for all of those schools except Notre Dame to form their own conference.
Yeah.
And now I think Clark Lee, having been at Notre Dame, he brought some of that same mentality of how Notre Dame does it. When Coach Parsegian got to Notre Dame, they said, here are the academic standards. They gave him 4 exceptions a year. What I mean by that is the minimum score on the SAT was 800. Okay. You can bring 4 guys in at 800. If one of them don't make it academically, you're down to 3. They never had a guy, they never lost a guy. Once you got into Notre Dame, the retention was great.
Yeah.
The problem came with some recent head coaches, plural, trying to get the academics changed at Notre Dame, and they were no longer there. One went to South Carolina, the other went to LSU. It's an academic issue, but I know this. If you tell guys up front what you got to do with the math, with the science, you don't have an issue. But you have to increase your pool of where you're going. Marcus Freeman is working within the parameters.
Yeah.
A couple other guys didn't. They wanted to fight it. They wanted change.
Yeah.
It had nothing to do with training table. It had nothing to do. They have more money than anybody else. All right. Vanderbilt now, with Candace Story, a former Vanderbilt alum, being the AD, she understands what has to get done, and she's gone out to raise money. So, coupled with Barton Simmons, Clark, they also have a young man by the name of Valdesari there, whose grandfather, Roger, was at Notre Dame at the SID. They've brought in a little bit of the Notre Dame mentality, but they're fitting, but they're also getting better players. And you talk about a staff that stayed together. Like Dave was talking about Missouri losing guys.
Yeah.
Vanderbilt's kept that staff. They've kept the scheme, and they've gotten better.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're going to do in the season. 2 young guys that are playing over there, Brian Longwell and Junior Sherrill, they played for us at Lipscomb Academy. Those are 2 kids that would not have gone to Vanderbilt in the old days.
Yeah.
2 really good players. Now they're keeping the mid-state Tennessee guys home.
Yeah.
They're doing a much better job of evaluation. So I commend Clark. I think Brent Pry's got some problems at Virginia Tech. But it's like Dave said, that was a 10 years ago, you go, Virginia Tech should win. Not in today's age. But Vanderbilt and Clark Lee, they're expanding and really doing a good job of player development and retention.
Yeah. Dave, before we wrap up here, you look at staffs and you put staffs together. So your points and rebuttal on that, because that was great.
Well, actually, I wanted to drop a couple nuggets for your listeners, going back to your passing comment, the yards per game, okay, and the rushing game. 2 things. Number one, it's a scoreboard. It's not a yards board. Yeah. So when I talk to anybody, and if they ever bring up yards per anything, I tune them out. It's not a yards board. It's a scoreboard. Yards don't matter. Okay, it's a score that matters. There's 24 numbers a year, and they're on the scoreboard 12 times, winner and loser. But the other thing, when it comes down to a running game over the last 5 years, 21, 22, 23, 24, now into 25, if your scoring drive has more rushes than passes, your expected scoring average is 17% higher than pass-dominated drives. I'll say it again. Run-dominated drives. So 6 runs to 5 passes, 11 runs to 2 passes. Okay. Run-dominated drives score 17% more points than pass-dominated drives. So you can win games passing, but you're not going to win a lot of games and win national titles, because I don't think you can be as efficient enough if you don't have that run game. So something I'm always looking for is how efficient is that run game early on, because that carries the season.
Hey, Dave,
especially now with the quarterback run package.
Yeah.
With more teams going to a mobile quarterback, that quarterback might be your second best running back on that offense.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, as a defensive coordinator, when people are throwing the ball around on you, you've got some things in your back pocket you can do to try to stop it, X and O wise.
Yeah.
When you're getting your ass kicked in the box and they're moving on the ground, the calls don't usually help.
Yeah.
And that's what a good running game indicates, is that you're controlling the line of scrimmage. Whereas a throwing game indicates that you got a better system or a better scheme. Well, you can call something and stop some of it.
Yeah. Look, unfortunately, we have run out of time. This is thank you all so much, more than you know, for sharing your time with us. All 3 of y'all, and Brendan, best producer in the world, and everybody watching. Dave, tell them about your product, because I love them.
Oh yeah, we the Pro Athletes Hemp Association. It's a company that I work with. We work with NFL alumni to try to use hemp products to battle sleep issues, pain issues, aches and breaks. And those guys got a lot of them. So the best products that are sold there: the sleep gummies, lights out tincture, lights out gummies, the pain topicals. Those were designed for NFL alumni. You can ship them everywhere. All 50 states. Use the code SIDELINES to get 25% off these NFL alumni level products at hemperpros.com.
Yeah.
You don't think old coaches have those same aches and breaks? Oh my God!
No, I didn't say that.
Ellis, how do we get cut out of this thing? Do they understand the pain we go through?
Oh, I'll get you old guys some too. Okay, I'll get you some too. All right.
I've got some Ambien in the cabinet from 5 years ago. I'm breaking them into quarters and halves and trying to sustain. So I need some of them.
We're gonna have to get you that oil well, brother.
Yeah. They absolutely work. And by the way, Audrey's cousin, Mark Ham, you're going to be getting an order from him. He wants to come out and go elk hunting with you. He loves the Pacific Northwest. Look, all 3 of y'all, thank you. Gomer Paul, thank you. All
Thanks,
3 of y'all. We'll do it again next Monday. Appreciate it. Let's say something before we go. Appreciate y'all, man. About Landers Ford, folks. You got to get a car, truck, or an SUV. You got to go shopping. Do yourself a favor. Start with a call to LandersFordMemphis.com. Poplar and Houston Levy, where Collierville and Germantown come together. Ask for our good friend. Love this guy. He's on the Friday show. Brad Bellamy, the general manager at Landers Ford. They are like top 5 in the country in expedition sales, Broncos, Ford Escapes. They've got sedans. Service departments open every day, Monday through Saturday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Hey, look. Call them. Let them know you heard about them on Sidelines. Ask for Brad Bellamy, the GM. Get started. Right down the street from Hewlett & Dunn, Boot and Clothing Company, on the historic square in Collierville, Tennessee. Charles Hall, his wife, Laura. Can't get better than these people. They love Collierville. They love their customers, and they will make the experience. Oh, you'll never forget it. And J.M. Huffman, the whole crew out there, they're open Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m., 6 p.m. And Rumble Boxing Gym, Union and McLean, Midtown Memphis. How you fight is how you live. Don't ever forget that, okay? And if you got some damage on your vehicle, get it down to Tom Martin's Body Shop, Patterson and BB King. Hey, most often we see the face of Christ in the least among us. For executive producer Brendan Martin, Rob Brown saying, have a great day. Watch this channel as often as you can. Thanks.